Who do you know? It's my prayer every morning. And so I pray to God every morning to put at least 10 people in front of me that I can help. And since I met you, I also asked, may you put 10 people in front of me that can help me. And that's the infinite flow. It's the divine direction that I'm in, that the fastest and easiest way to get to where we want to be is going to be the next 15 or 20 minutes that we spend together asking for help. If we can understand, the more we give, the more we're given, but we need to be worthy of receiving it and humble enough to ask for more.
Well, welcome to the Who You Know show, where what you know is important, but who you know can make all the difference in your wealth, health, business, career, your relationships, and definitely in your life. I'm super excited today because I got my man and the whole 50 grand with me today. I got David Meltzer, the co-founder of Sports One Marketing and former CEO of Leigh Steinberg Sports and Entertainment Agency, and the inspiration behind the iconic movie, Jerry Maguire. And David has dedicated his life to a very profound mission to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. And this isn't our first time having you on the podcast. Back in 2020 during COVID, we had you on, and except that time you were in your closet studio. Lockdown.
I still get there.
You still get there?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, these multi-million-dollar studios at the Wynn, Palazzo, in Orange County, and I still find myself sometimes in that closet. I like it.
Well, I think that was a great interview. I don't think, many people have that shot of you. So I got that shot. It's pretty cool. But one of the big takeaways from the last time we talked was your mission to empower over 1 billion people. And I remember you had your formula, 1,000 to 1,000 to 1,000, right? And so today, I thought I would do something a little bit different on this podcast.
Cool.
Okay. Because I want to be one of your 1,000.
And you're already on your way. So good.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I figured what we could do today, if it's okay with you, maybe we could focus on I know you're one of the top business coaches on the planet.
Thank you.
You help so many people. So I thought maybe you could help dissect what I've got going on, pull me apart, use me as your guinea pig.
I've done these before. I love it.
You see what I'm saying?
It's a great podcast. So I would love to do a little coaching session.
Yeah, absolutely.
Business advisor. I do want to start with one thing. Who do you know? It's my prayer every morning. I know you and I are faith-based people.
Yes.
And so I pray to God every morning to put at least 10 people in front of me that I can help. And since I met you, I also asked, may you put 10 people in front of me that can help me. And that's the infinite flow. It's the divine direction that I'm in, that the fastest and easiest way to get to where we want to be is going to be the next 15 or 20 minutes that we spend together asking for help. And if we can understand, the more we give, the more we're given.
Yes.
But we need to be worthy of receiving it and humble enough to ask for more. And so the Who Do You Know podcast means a lot to me as my career and community has grown. And I'm looking for people like Trevor to be the 1,000, to empower 1,000, to get us to a collective consciousness, a divine community of people that want to help each other and know people that can help each other. So thank you for this opportunity. What's on your plate today?
Well, you just said something. If I had one of my mics, I'd drop it.
Or the sound. You guys have the sound machine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you said give first. Right. Yeah. Give and ask. Right. I know that's one of your big things. So one of the things that I'm looking to do this year is really pick up my speaking engagements.
Good.
Right. And I know you're one of the world's best, speakers. Right. So where did you start? And what would you recommend for somebody like me to get started, to start getting on some bigger stages and things like that?
Well, let me take you through that because I help a lot of people with their speaking career. And it's funny because some of them aren't the best speakers in the world, but they have followed the methodology and they get really high paying speaking gigs and they get a lot of speaking offers. So the first thing is that speaking is based off of two things, lessons and stories. See, from the beginning of time, if you look on the caveman's wall, what was up on the wall? Stories. And what do you think those stories, the purpose of those stories, for the sake of what were they putting them up there? teach lessons.
Teach lessons, and I bet it transferable, right? Like it will go down generations, right?
In fact, I'm keynoting here at AmCon, and that's what Renee Rodriguez teaches, is that the human mind has most of its time daydreaming. And so via lessons and stories, we create the narrative, the reality in people's minds. And so there is this divine connection that we have with other people, and we connect in this divinity by telling lessons and stories. So the first step of being a great teacher is to capture every time a lesson is given to you. So good. Thank you. Yeah. So anytime, I'll give a speech. People come up to me all the time. Man, that was the best speech I ever heard. You changed my life. Really? What was it? Because I made them feel a certain way.
Yeah.
But what I want people to do is when they hear something, you'll see me do this all the time. I'll hear or say a lesson. I'll stop everything and text myself because I want to capture the lessons that resonate with me, because that means it's at my frequency, which means my community who's at my frequency, it'll resonate with more of them. They then will communicate with their communities and it'll resonate with them. So step number one, capture all lessons that resonate with you, create a system that you then attach stories to the lesson. Now, when you speak, all you have to know is what lessons you want to teach. The stories come naturally. I tell about be more interested than interesting.
Yes.
I have a note next to be more interested than interesting. It says, my brother at the hospital, because that's the first time I ever heard it. And I know the story about how stupid I was at 18. And I went in to be a doctor, talked to my brother about being a doctor. And the first thing I said is, I hate hospitals. And he's like, dude, you're pre-med. You hate hospitals? I'm like, I'll be a sports doctor. Sidelines, locker rooms. He's like, David, you got to be in a hospital to be a doctor. I don't care what kind of doctor. You're an idiot. Can I give you a piece of advice? Be more interested than interesting. And so since the time I was 18 years old, I've been looking for the light, the love, and the lessons. Number one lesson in speaking. 2, practice. Anytime, I love getting paid. One thing about being a great coach, I love getting paid for 2 things. 1, being annoying, which includes being repetitive and honest.
Okay.
Right? Because the only way people learn is to keep repeating yourself. And then I keep repeating myself, telling people and getting paid for it. How can I get better at X, David? Practice.
So do you believe in a signature talk, or do you think that you should no
lessons and stories, man.
Lessons and stories?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have signature lessons and stories.
Okay.
And when they give you a time frame, which is why I'm a time freak when it comes, especially to be on stage, I know how many. I do an intro. I introduce the lessons I'm going to teach. I go ahead and tell the lessons and the stories. And then I have a conclusion that goes ahead and repeats the lessons and the stories. And so then the second thing about coaching, which is really fun, is that when you get to be a big coach or a big speaker, people will pay you money to coach them. And then they're too afraid to call you and ask for help. I go, what a great business model. A whole bunch of people pay you. And then I'm like, why didn't you call me for help? Oh, I didn't want to bother you. I'm like, I thought you were paying me. But anyway, as a speaker, you got to practice.
Well, I was going to ask you on that note, I'm actually launching my first coaching business this December. I'll be coaching financial advisors and insurance agents how to do compliance-friendly marketing. And because it's kind of a sticky point in my industry, compliance is a real high.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to market online. I kind of figured that out. And so I figured I'll create a coaching model around it to teach other agents and advisors how to do it. And so what would you say is, a big lesson or takeaway, something that from your coaching business that's made you one of the top business coaches? Because I'm going into that. So
yeah, and that's a good coaching business, by the way. And in fact, remind me afterwards, I have a deal that I have to bring you and your clientele that can make us both a ton of money in the insurance business. So just remind me, Wilson is the guy's name.
Wilson,
so
I'll remember that.
Anyways, in order to market your coaching, or why coaching works, is because you have to look at it in a quantitative way. Okay. Most people look at it in an emotional way. Most coaches make you feel good, kind of like my speech. I guarantee if you're a real coach, you should be able to say, hey man, I'm this much a month. I work month to month. I don't lock you in. And every month is guaranteed. And be able to not only articulate the value to exceed what you're asking for in a quantitative way. with credibility and emotional attachment, you have to quantify the reasons, the impact, and the capabilities that you have. Infuse that value by having capabilities. But most people, as coaches, they just rely on the emotional aspect and making people feel good. Not me. I'm going to sit down and I'll help you in especially compliance and insurance and marketing insurance. Look, if I'm able to increase the amount of people in your community, or I'm able to increase the size of your deals, or the amount of time it takes to accelerate the time it takes to get deals, quantitatively, if you're doing 100 deals, if I get twice as many people, how much is that worth for you? Therefore, when I'm charging you X, can you see the reason you want to move forward? And two, I'm guaranteeing it. So if you don't have the money, which you'll hear from people when they say, hey man, I'd love to do it, I just don't have the money. That's why you should do it. Because I guarantee it, if you're not willing to make the investment with a guarantee, then you're not ready to do it. Why don't you just go find another profession or go get a 9-to-5 job that's going to pay you a consistent salary for being a tube? And when I say being a tube, most people in America, most people around the world live like tubes. Food in, food out. That's their whole life. Not for me. If you're going to coach with me or coach a coach with me, then we're going to create quantitative value and guarantee it.
That's good. So that person who doesn't want to invest with a guarantee, they don't have a belief system in themselves.
They're not going to do the work.
And if
they're going to blame you. But how many people, I know you've already mentored and coached so many people, but the most frustrating thing is when people aren't willing to do the work that it takes and they come every 2 weeks or whatever to you. And it's the same thing. I have one of my clients, he's awesome, but at least he's honest. He's like, hey, Mr. David, I'm sorry, man. It's due to the calendar. I'm trying. And we finally had a breakthrough. He cared about it so much and he's so accountable that he hired a person to do what I was telling him to do so that he can benefit from what needs to be done when it comes to being a student of the calendar, being productive, accessible, and gracious, because he believed in the quantitative analysis so much, but he just couldn't prioritize and do it himself. He just hired someone because the math made sense.
He needed someone else to help him do what you needed him to do.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, that
for
makes
his
sense.
business.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, good for him for recognizing it, right?
Yeah, one of my favorite guys.
What would you say one of your biggest mistakes that you made in coaching? What's something, a pitfall I should avoid?
Great.
Like something, like a plague?
Ever asked me one
Like
question.
I need to avoid that like the plague.
Yeah. And it is absolutely kind of related to what we're talking about. Make sure that guarantee goes both ways. Meaning, look, at first, I should have fired clients, right? They hired me month to month to month, but it was not going to end well. And I knew it month 1 or month 2.
You already saw it, the writing on the wall. You're like, this is not going to work.
And when I first started, I have a wait list of 400 and some people. Not everybody's all going to get on my wait list either, because I know that they're not in a position where I feel comfortable and confident in guaranteeing the quantitative value, right? Some guys not ready for me. So not only do I have that big wait list for one-on-one, but I have a group that's really inexpensive that I can guarantee anybody can make money off of. And it's a virtual group that meets on Monday. So I have buckets. And then even for people in a less advanced state, I have free Friday training, right? For over 24 years, almost 25 years, I've been doing these free Friday trainings. So creating the buckets, but also being able to tell someone, hey, this is not working out on my side. Right. You're wasting my time, and not being afraid of losing the monthly fee just because someone sees emotional value. If you're not bringing the quantitative value, it's like not being aligned with values itself. It's going to end poorly, and they're going to blame you. I promise you, when people don't do the work, those are the type of people that go below the line in the blame, shame, and justification. And all you're doing is hurting your brand. Because someone's going to say, oh, he's a shitty coach. And what are you going to say? We didn't do the work?
That's good. So do you have like a formal, some kind of agreement that says basically like, hey, there's a guarantee, but I guarantee you also, if you
it's a month to month. It's a mutual month to month agreement.
I love that.
I don't believe in agreements. I believe in memorializations, because I'm not going to enforce anything, right? You want your money back. You don't have to go to an agreement, lawyers, I've gone that route. All that is a waste of time. I'm a man of value and integrity.
Right.
And if you feel as if you didn't get the value, or I was not living in integrity, I have no complaints. You can lie and make up something and say, and most people do. Most people quit because they can't afford it or they're not doing the work. And I used to get offended by it. Now I'm like, it doesn't matter. You could tell me, Dave Meltzer, I don't like your Travis Matthew hoodie and I want all my money back. No problem. I just got a long letter from this girl. She came to one
That's
of
got to feel good too.
It does. This girl came to my VIP dinner and she was really nice and she wants to go to law school. And so she came sold out, oversold, to be honest, with Aspire tour. I'm on the Aspire business tour, with all the big names and it's a great tour. And I do the VIP dinners like we're going to do tonight at AmCon. So it was supposed to be 100 people. It's 120 people. And we sell our dinner spots. Right now, I used to feel bad. I'd be like, Trevor's my friend. Why am I selling this? We should, well, number one, it goes to charity. But two, if Trevor's not willing to show value for value, then he's not going to be the right type of person to be in the community.
Right.
He's not going to be one of those people that help each other and know people that can help each other. And so for me, I'm pre-qualifying. I'm curating the room. So this lady, she has a job, go to law school. Unbeknownst to me, she gets up to go to the bathrooms. Someone gave away her seat. She ends up sitting at the table. I have one of my employees get up and have a seat. Anyways, 2 months later, she also asked me for a phone. I give anyone in the world a 5-minute phone call to help them under the guise of a mission of empowering others, empower others. So I have a call. She wants to go to law school. I know someone on the admissions board to help her, but she wanted me to go over her resume. And I was like, her personal statement. I go, it doesn't mean anything. That personal statement, you need to know somebody. Your grades, because their grades aren't good enough. I'm like, you will not be in that pile that they're even going to take their time to read that statement. You need to know someone. Let me help you directly. So anyway, it wasn't what she wanted to hear. 2 months later, she came back to Nick, who and said, hey, all this stuff happened at dinner. I didn't get my seat got taken. I didn't meet people that I wanted to meet. It's 120 people there, high net wealth, high powerful people.
Right.
But she's like, but the guy next to me was I don't even know what profession he was. Well, you could have stood up like everyone else in network. Anyway, my point was the minute I saw her email, which she didn't even send to me, she sent to Nick, call her and say full refund.
Wow.
Right? We don't care.
Yeah. I mean, that's good too, because you don't have time for it. I mean,
look,
you're a busy
and they're
guy.
just going to make up some reasons why, when the truth is you didn't get what you wanted out of it. And that's all I want is to get what you wanted out of it.
Right.
If I can't deliver that, no problem.
Well, that's really awesome. Okay. So we talked a little bit about speaking, a little bit about coaching. You're also a best-selling author multiple times, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
4 times so far.
4 times. Yeah. Just 4. So is the book, do you feel like the book is, you got to have a book to get on stage?
You do not have to have a book to get on stage, right? There's several things to get on stage. And I put it in 2 categories. Either you sell tickets.
Okay.
So you're Joe Montana, right? You're Taylor Swift.
Right.
Does Taylor Swift need to get? No. She doesn't need to get on stage because you're one of those people. You can sell tickets.
Your name brings
whatever, your talent, your name, whatever it is, sells tickets.
Right.
To impact. Now, even if you've written a book, that doesn't mean that you're going to get hired if you're not an impactful speaker. A book is a calling card, a calling card to help people elevate awareness to your essence, your own frequency or neighborhood, that resonation, right? Those are the lessons in the stories. So it's a much more efficient methodology in order for people to become aware of you and join your community as a calling card. That's why 3 of my 4 books, one is a big advance published by McGraw-Hill. I just actually sold my next book, Don't Do Business with Dicks, to Simon & Schuster. But all the other books, I bought back my first book from Hay House so I could give it away for free. Because I wanted truly, I'm the only one out there that gives my book, pays for shipping and everything. The book, everything, or just bring them and hand them to you, sign them. And the reason is I know my book is good. The reason most people don't give away their book and pay for shipping is because the shipping is paying for the book, 1, and 2, they don't believe in their book. It's the same thing as my coaching, the same thing as my speaking. I believe that if you read my book, and I know not everyone reads it that gets it for free, but if you do, you'll be a member of my community. If you're the type of person that will sit down and read that book, you were at my frequency enticed to get the book for free. I know, and that has way more value than anything.
Right.
And so I think the people that don't do what I do, there's two reasons. One, they want to sell the book in an obtuse way by charging you shipping to pay for the book and shipping. Or two, they don't believe in their book and they're actually hurting their brand. If I give you a shitty book, that's one thing for free.
Right.
If I sell you a shitty book,
then yeah.
Now we got a really big problem.
Yeah.
And so I truly know that my books, they change lives. I've taken the time. I'm not using AI.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to dig into that. Like, you know, AI and everything that's going on. Like, so you're not a proponent to that. You've written for it yourself.
I love AI to help me write my books. AI, just like all technology. I've been in technology since 92 when I got out of law school, pre-chasm internet. People thought the internet was a fad when I got into it. Justice Scalia told me straight out, a Supreme Court justice, nobody will ever do research on the internet. You need books. That's how old I am. That's how old technology is. Today, AI is meant in the same way to make humans more human. They make you more productive. They're not products. They don't make the product. They don't make the book. They make you more productive in writing a book.
Right.
They make humans more human. It is a servant. It's a waiter of extreme intelligence that allows you to process information, to utilize and synthesize that information. So for example, I've written my own book, Don't Do Business with Dicks. I keep running it through AI and say, hey, tell me more recent stories that are applicable to my book. Hey, rewrite my book as if you were Einstein. Rewrite my book as if you were Jesus Christ. Rewrite my book as if you were so-and-so. And I'm getting all these different versions and I'm improving my essay.
Yeah, you're
if it doesn't resonate with me, I'm not going to use it, but I wrote that book already.
Right.
And so that's how you use AI.
Well, that's why
I love AI.
I haven't published them yet, but I've written 2 books and I did use AI to assist me, but I essentially wrote it first and then I would have AI enhance it, you know, make it a little nicer, a little better. I haven't published them yet. Do you have any tips or thoughts or anything on publishing, like any advice there?
Yeah. So I coach people on that side of it as well. And so there's certain companies, I thought sports agents were auto mechanics, insurance guys sometimes. There's certain professions that have more people that oversell, back end sell, lie, manipulate, and cheat. I have to tell you, the publishing business may be the dirtiest business. It makes sports agents look like angels. Man, you know why? It's the same people that take advantage of people with kids. A book is a kid. Like, doesn't it? Like, we're seasoned business people. It's not surprising if when I go to buy a car, someone tries to oversell me. Or when I have a broken car, the service guy tries to lie to me. That's not a surprise. But when like a teacher, right, screws over a kid,
then
right, or about your kid, like,
you're like
there's something really dirty about that.
Yeah.
Well, your book is your child. And these people take advantage of how much you're in love with your child. They take advantage of that. It's way more than a car, way more than some lawyer, some sports agent taking an emotional situation and taking advantage of you. It is at its core. So I can help people find the right way to get it ranked. You don't have to pay tons of money to have it edited. I'm my own publishing consultant, book covers, like all the things that people get ripped up on, including advising them on their publishing agreements, whether it's self-publishing or with one of the publishers.
Did you help Craig Siegel with his book?
I did.
Because I know you've been mentoring him.
Yeah,
and
I still
I've
mentor
seen
him.
So when I went and did the interview with you at the Blue Wire studio in Vegas,
which is now my Sirius XM studio.
Love that.
We just redid it.
I met Craig there. That we all had dinner and everything. And I've seen, you guys working together, mentoring together. And I've seen him just, like, dang, this guy, talk about the power of proximity. Like this guy just.
He's a great student. And like I said, he's like one of my favorite people because so many people see him and say, I could do that. Yeah. If you follow directions and were as consistent as Craig Siegel, we haven't missed one show. You know why? Because I told him he wanted to do an IG show with me on Saturdays called The Paradigm Shift.
Yeah.
We're on 177 episodes in a row. That's a lot of weeks. It's more than 3 years.
Every Saturday.
But I told him, and I mentor him. He pays me to mentor him. I said, I will do this show. I will show up every week. But if you don't, show's done.
Ooh.
And it still holds true.
Love that.
So he's getting married September 7th weekend. And he's getting married on that day. And he's like, what time are we going to do it?
That's awesome. That's commitment.
And that's what it takes. So, and that's why you saw the hockey stick for his brand.
Yes.
I got time for one more question.
Well, you know, I really just want to say I appreciate you. It's been amazing getting to know you over these last couple of years, hanging out with you in Clubhouse, Breakfast with Champions, and just I'm excited we got to do an in-person interview. And I know we're going to have a lot more collaboration, and I'm excited to hear you on stage. Real last question.
Yes.
What's the key message, the key theme of what you're going to speak about? Because this is the first time I get to hear you speak on stage. So what is the key theme or message you want people to take away from that speech?
True abundance, what that infinite loop where we started off, that the more you give, the more you're given, the more you're given, you elevate your awareness. So many people think they're punished, but you're actually given. Take my story. When I went bankrupt, I had to tell my mom I lost her house. Only reason I wanted to be rich was to buy her a house. And at that time I felt punished, but I should have been in awareness and faith that I was given something, an opportunity, an option, a touch of favor to make a divine detour in my life to where I am or better today by feeling worthy of receiving as well all that I'm giving. And most importantly, teaching people to ask for more, because the math of it is, this is not a zero-sum game that we're living in. The more you give, the more you're given. The more you're given, the more you receive. Then ask for more. So now you're asking for more than more, giving more than more, giving more than more, receive more than more, ask for more than more than more. You know where I'm going to be when I'm 80? In a world of more than enough of everything for everyone, because I understand that infinite loop of abundance. I use wisdom and faith to shorten the distance of resistance that most people create in their own lives. I have wisdom and faith, promoting, protecting, and loving me no matter what I do, where I do it, with who I do it, and when I do it. That's why I'm here. That's why I took the time to be with you, Trevor, because it is Who Do You Know?
Man, David Meltzer, the freaking legend, dude. Oh my gosh. I feel like Yoda or something. Like I'm just listening to this guy with this. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Awesome. Guys, that's the show. It's all about who you know. Bye.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Who You Know Show podcast. My name is Trevor Houston, and if you've enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing wherever you listen and leave us a positive review to help us keep the mics on in the studio. Until next week, that's the show. It's all about who you know.